Madam Clerk, do we have anyone present for? Do we have anyone here for arraignment this afternoon?
Yes. Yes, Your Honor, we do.
Okay.
Just one moment. I was mistaken, Your Honor. We don't have any arraignments ready. Mr. Duncanson is here, though.
Mr. Duncanson, do you have any matters ready?
Yes. The first matter would be Logan Barkley.
All right, looks like that is number 1 and 2 on page 2. Is Mr. Barkley present?
Yes. And this is on for both a victim's motion to modify, and we have also resolved the criminal matter as well.
Okay, why don't we take the resolution of the criminal matter first?
Yes, so me and the city have come to an agreement on entering into an SOC. I am not sure if that has been scanned over to your honor yet or not.
It looks like I have received it. So you are Logan is it Barkley?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so Mr. Barkley, I have before the court today a statement of defendant on stipulation or submittal to facts. You're currently charged with the crime of assault 4th degree, that if you violate the terms of this agreement and it's revoked, you would be looking at a potential of 364 days in jail and a $5,000 fine. You understand those penalties?
Yes, Your Honor.
And even though we have this agreement, you would be prohibited from possessing, owning, or having under your control any firearm unless your right to do so is restored by a court of record. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But if you meet the conditions that I'll go through in a moment, the city will be dismissing the case against you with prejudice. That's your understanding?
Yes, Your Honor.
So it looks like the case has been agreed to continue for 12 months. During that time period, you're not to have any criminal violations of the law. You're agreeing to obtain a domestic violence / anger management evaluation by a state certified agency within 45 days of today's date. And you're going to begin any recommended treatment within 90 days after completing that evaluation. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Mr. Barkley, what a lot of people seem to forget when they enter into these agreements is they just think it's done and never complete the conditions. And if we find out that we don't have an evaluation in 45 days, our city attorney's going to file a motion to revoke this agreement. You understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you're also agreeing to pay court costs of $350 within 90 days or begin making payments within that time. Are you working right now?
No, Your Honor.
Are you looking for work?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I'm going to sign off on this agreement. I'll have my court clerk stamp it with my signature stamp. And then looks like Mr. Rhodes, you verify that this is all true and correct as agreed?
That's correct. In fact, a version with my signature was just emailed to all the parties.
Okay, great. Then we'll get that one signed by myself and get that to your client. Just trying to see if there's anything else that's popped up here. So yeah, Mr. Barclay, that concludes that part of your case today. And I understand there's a motion regarding the protection order.
Yes, and I believe the alleged victim is here and present if you'd like me to go grab her. She's just out in the hallway.
And what is her name?
Ashley Fagan.
Yeah, if you'll round her up.
Yeah. Yeah, your mask is fine.
Hello, I'm Judge Bates. You filed a statement or a motion regarding the protection order that was issued in this case, and what would you like me to know?
I'm not afraid of Logan Barkley. I know him very well, and I have nothing else to say. I just want to see what you could do for us today.
It's not what I can do for you, it's what Mr. Barclay can do for himself to better whatever relationship the two of you have. Have you seen or been to the Domestic Violence Center here in Grays Harbor?
Yes, I have. Gone to get a safety plan, and I've spoken with the lady, gave me all the resources, and
And I think you filed a copy of that plan with the court, did you not? Or a copy that you had
yes,
verifying you had been there. I do recall that.
yes, Your Honor.
What is the city's position at this point?
Excuse me, Your Honor. City, made this offer because city's convinced this is an anomalous occurrence between these two individuals. There's no prior history or indication of this behavior. The defendant seems appropriately contrite and genuinely apologetic for what happened. I do believe that these individuals do not present a risk to each other, and that Ms. Fagan would, avail herself of the necessary opportunities and tools she has to protect herself if that was needed. And so, for all those reasons, I don't oppose her motion.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, what I'll do is I'm going to grant the request and terminate the protection order.
Thank you, Your Honor.
We'll do that today. My clerk will issue one, and I'm authorizing her to use my signature stamp on that. You will get a copy, and the both of you may want to keep that copy on your persons for the next 48 hours to 72 hours because it will take some time to clear through the system.
Thank you.
All right. But that will be issued today. Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Have a great day.
And Mr. Barclay, that concludes your case today.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Good luck. Are we ready to take the Travis Roberts case? I have an order that came through on that matter.
Yeah, that should just be a agreed order to continue it. I'm still waiting on some more information in that case.
Okay, is Mr. Roberts here?
No, he's not.
Mr. Rhodes, you've signed off on this.
No objection.
Okay. How much time are you looking for, Mr. Duncanson?
It was just a month continuance.
Okay.
Hopefully, I believe I put October 26th on the order. I believe that is the next docket day.
Okay, the case will be reset on next month's docket. And his absence is noted today for the record. Okay. Anything else ready?
Yeah, Randy Elliott.
Court calls for Randy Elliott.
What was that?
And you are Randy Elliott?
Yes, I am, sir.
Okay. Mr. Elliott, you're here before the court today for your pretrial conference. And how are the parties proceeding?
Yes, I was just going to request a 1-month continuance. I just received a stack of certificates from Mr. Elliott that I want to provide to Mr. Rhodes as negotiations are still ongoing.
Good. Any objection from the city?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right. Well, Mr. Elliott, at your attorney's request, the case will be reset 1 month. Stay in touch with your attorney and sign for your court date on the way out.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome.
The next matter I've ready is Christopher Wong.
Okay, the court calls for Christopher Wong. We have we have 3 matters coming on for pretrial today.
Yes. Hat and mask, please.
All right, and are you Christopher Wong?
Christopher Wang.
Wang,
Pronounce your name wrong.
thank you.
There's no O in there.
Okay, Mr. Wang, you're here for pretrial today with your attorney. And how are the parties proceeding today?
Yes, so I was just recently in contact with Mr. Wang has gotten an evaluation done. However, it doesn't comply with the terms of the deferred prosecution statute. I've been in contact with his counselor, and she should be getting an updated evaluation to me Thursday. So at that time, I anticipate filing a petition to enter a deferred prosecution. And so what I'm hoping, because I understand Mr. Wang has a scram bracelet and we want to get this resolved, I'm hoping maybe Friday I can contact Madam Clerk and see if we can set up a special set Zoom hearing where we can enter the deferred findings and have that ready to go.
Okay, we've been hearing about this supposed deferral since May, and
Yes.
we're only now learning that the evaluation wasn't the correct evaluation.
Yeah, it was when I went and double checked it. It didn't include length of time. I had instructed my client to indicate that it was for a deferred. However, the counselor didn't have that in her notes, and so she didn't do it as a deferred.
Okay.
But he has been attending his treatment as in the recommendation, and it doesn't seem like it'll take much for her to just include the necessary language.
Okay. Well, I'm going to reset it for next month, but in the event the parties get the documentation together that's needed, I'm reluctantly willing to schedule a special setting to take care of it.
And I should know by Friday, and I will be in touch with Ms. Geller, and we'll see what we can come up with.
Okay. Mr. Wang, that concludes your case today. Make sure you do any follow-up you need to do with your treatment provider and stay in good contact with your attorney. Okay?
Yes,
All right. Well, that concludes your case today. Let's make a push to get this thing done.
So just step right over there. I'll be in touch probably Friday
oh, give me a call.
or Thursday once I get the eval from Devonna. Yes. The next matter ready is Jesus Orozco Pacheco.
The court calls for Jesus Orozco Pacheco. All right, you are Jesus Pacheco?
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Pacheco, we are here for pretrial today. You're charged with assault fourth degree, domestic violence, and what are the parties doing today?
Yeah, so I have been in contact with Mr. Rhodes. We're working on a resolution. He just needs to reach out to the alleged victim to see if our resolution will be an okay or a go. So I would just ask for a 1 month continuance. Also, I do want to know, I did receive some filings that it appears that the alleged victim filed a motion to modify the no contact order. It does appear that she's present today for that as well.
Okay, I don't see that motion on the court's calendar today. So I'm not going to hear that today, but I'm willing to consider that motion in chambers, but we can certainly put it on next month's docket too.
And I will say, Mr. Pacheco just handed me both looks like a substance use compliance report and a domestic violence compliance report that I'm going to hand to Madam Clerk just to make sure they're filed.
Okay.
He is in treatment.
Good. Excellent. Well, Mr. Pacheco, we're going to reset this 1 month, and I'll do my best to take a look at that motion, and if I feel it's appropriate to terminate it, I will, but I may want to wait until the next court hearing to address that.
Okay, Your Honor, I understand. Is there any way that you can hear the testimony of my wife so you can keep that in mind when you do read this? Because we have really busy work schedules and we took some time off, and we'd like to just keep that, see if we can include that today, sir.
Yeah, and I understand that, but the motion's not before me today. I don't have the actual motion. It's not on the court docket. And so I'm willing to consider that without her speaking to the court, or if she wants to show up next month, if I don't modify or terminate, she'd be welcome to appear.
Okay.
All right. Well, that concludes your pretrial hearing today. Please sign for your court date on the way out.
I'll let you know if he terminates it in chambers. Next matter I have ready is Lonnie Miller.
All right, the court calls for Lonnie Miller. And you are Mr. Miller?
I am.
All right, good afternoon, Mr. Miller. All right, this also is a pretrial hearing today. Looks like we have one count of hit and run unattended property.
Yes, and this is one that we've been trying to do a civil compromise for a while. I received notice from Mr. Miller last month that his insurance company has accepted the claim. They're just waiting on a final bill from the PUD to pay it. And then I've also spoke with Mr. Rhodes, who's also been in contact with the PUD and they indicate that they're also in contact with the insurance company, just payment hasn't been made yet. So we're just waiting on payment to be made, and once it's made, we can get this resolved.
So that's a request for a continuance?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, it's like I got the bill from PUD, but the insurance won't accept it. They want it directly from what the final amount is from PUD for the pay. I just got a text message last night from the insurance company saying if we accept this claim, we're just waiting for them to send a final number.
Okay, terrific. Well, hopefully that comes through and we'll set this over to next month, and sounds like the case will be disposed of at that time.
I'll call PUD too again.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Mr. Miller. Please sign for your court date on your way out.
The next matter ready is Delaney Norris.
The court calls for Delaney Norris. It looks like we have one criminal pretrial and then some trailing infractions.
There should be two
Oh,
criminal pretrials.
Yep, I see the minor in possession or consumption as well.
So at this time, I've discussed this case with Mr. Rhodes. I'm requesting a 1-month continuance. I haven't received the police reports for the minor in possession charge, and then the DUI is a blood draw. So we're working on seeing if we can resolve that before results, or if it will just ultimately be dismissed while we wait for results.
Okay. And you are Delaney Norris?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, Mr. Norris, or Mrs. Norris, Ms. Norris. Your attorney's requesting to set the matter over 1 month. I'm inclined to do so, and it doesn't sound like there's objection from the prosecutor.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right. So, Ms. Norris, stay in touch with your attorney. Make sure he has a good number for you so he can get a hold of you to hopefully get paperwork finished and to the court. So on your way out, make sure you sign for your court date, and we'll see you back next month.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
I believe I do. The next matter that's ready in the courtroom is Richard Newman.
Where is that on the docket?
It is
Oh, I
number
found it.
2-115.
I found it. All right, and are you representing Mr. Newman? Because it's noted on the docket that he's pro se.
That's what I was gonna ask, because it was Mr. Newman's understanding that I was appointed. However, as you had stated, it doesn't appear on the docket, so I wanted to clear that up.
I do somewhat recall reviewing an application after the fact on this, so.
And Madam Clerk does have a order appointing, so.
Yep, that's ringing a bell. So is Mr. Newman present in the courtroom?
Yes, just step right over the camera, it's not picking you up.
Gotcha. I'm here.
All right, you are Richard Newman?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Newman, we have a pretrial conference today. You're here with your attorney. This is the city attorney on the other screen. How are the parties proceeding?
As I was unaware I was representing Mr. Newman, I would just ask for a 1-month continuance so I can get a chance to speak with him, review the police report, and speak with Mr. Rhodes.
Okay. Mr. Newman, do you have a phone number for your attorney?
It should be in the record, but it's 251.
No, not your number. You can give that to your attorney after we're done here. Do you have your attorney's phone number?
Yes. he's-
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
It's on the
great.
paperwork.
Yeah, can you write it? Can you write it down? So
You
I
got
have
it.
it here.
All right, well, the matter will be set over 1 month. And I think that's it, Mr. Newman. Once you're done providing your number to Mr. Duncanson, you're free to go and sign for your next court date.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Have a good day, Your Honor. And
Do you have any other clients present, Mr. Duncanson?
I believe there is one present on Zoom. It is Calvin Smith.
All right, and we're going to bring him in to the courtroom. All right, Mr. Smith, it looks like we brought you in and you're logged in. We'll need you to turn on your video and unmute your mic.
Okay.
Okay,
I'm on court with Grays Harbor 2 right now, so
okay. Sounds like you have a lot going on. So, Mr. Smith, we're here today for a pretrial conference. Your attorney's present by Zoom, as well as the city attorney. And so how are the parties proceeding today?
Mr. Smith is on for a DWS 3. He's working on getting his license back. I was just checking his jabs. It looks like he actually has only one thing left pending that's holding his license up. So I would just request a 1 month continuance to see if by next month he can have his license back. And we'll have everything resolved.
I'm
And
trying to find out right now at this court. I'll find out about if I can get it back or not on the other one.
And I will note that from jabs, it does look like it's a Grays Harbor District Court charge that's holding his license up. So if he's also on hold for Zoom and Grays and across the street, then
it looks like he's adjudicated all infraction matters. So, Mr. Smith, I think it's appropriate to set this over 1 month and we'll issue notice to you in the mail. Do you have any questions of the court?
No, sir.
Okay. Well, that concludes your case today and you're free to log off.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anyone else in the courtroom or on Zoom?
someone just came into the courtroom, but I don't know who they are. I do see that Miss Young is on Zoom, so if we maybe take her case.
She's appearing on Mr. Combs.
And said he's. But she doesn't know.
Okay.
All right, well, let's bring Miss Young in. All right, Mrs. Young Pratt, we are bringing you in here. All right, there we go. Your client Cameron Combs did call the court today. Have you been in touch with him?
Yes, he said he was having problems logging on to Zoom. I told him to be patient because I got a message that said to be patient. So the last I heard from him was just a minute ago. He said he was trying to log on.
Okay. From the sounds of it, he had advised the court clerk he had some COVID-like symptoms. So
Oh,
at least I believe that's the case I'm referring to. Madam Clerk, is he in the waiting room perchance? All right. Well, Mrs. Young, with the considering your client's been in touch with the court, and that he may be having technical difficulties, and given his reason for not being here, I do find it appropriate to set the case over 1 month. And so we will issue notice to both you and Mr. Combs of that October, or the October court date.
Very good, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
It looks like Attorney Blake and his client, I think it's Brian Katina, are in the waiting room.
Okay, and where is that on the docket?
Page 11, number 3.
All right. All right, Mr. Harris, we brought you into our virtual courtroom, and looks like your client, Mr. Katuna, is connecting.
Hello?
Hello. And do you pronounce your client's last name Katuna?
Katina.
Katina.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Katina, we do have you here. Do you have the ability to turn on video?
Let me see here. It's not asking me on my screen. There it is.
Okay. And sir, we are in, even though it's a virtual courtroom, we're in court, and so I'd appreciate if you take your hat off and show some decorum. All right. And so we have our city attorney here, Mr. Rhodes. Can the parties advise the court how this is proceeding today?
Yes, Your Honor. This is, oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say, go ahead, counsel.
Okay, yeah. This is my motion, or our motion. Mr. Katina is motioning the court to modify the SOC to allow for him to have possession of firearms. The reason why is he would like to go hunting with his father this fall. And I believe the SOC it will be completed in January 2022, if memory serves me right.
Okay. And I'm operating remotely. I don't have that motion in front of me. Did you file that with the court, Mr. Harris?
I did, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Rhodes, did the city receive a copy of that motion?
We did, Your Honor.
And what's the city's position?
Your Honor, Mr. Katina is in compliance otherwise with this agreement, has no additional charges. This will be dismissed pursuant to the terms of the agreement here come January. City has no objection to the request to modify the order as requested.
Okay. Give me a second here while I pull up this history. And I see, it looks like there was maybe an order issued out of the Superior Court at one time. That's not the order. We have our own order out of Montesano. What's happened with that civil order?
I believe that order is complete at this time, Your Honor.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe it was a temporary protection order, but I can find that out and go over that with Mr. Katina.
Okay. Well, Mr. Katina, I want to commend you on being in compliance today. I wouldn't even consider this if you were not. And I think it is appropriate to grant the request to terminate. There's no objection from the city. So at this time, I'll be issuing a termination order That will get to your attorney later today, hopefully if my court clerk's not too busy. And then once you obtain a copy of that, it's not uncommon for Fish and Wildlife to run your background in the field. And so depending on who you're with, you might want to keep a copy of that termination order in your
Okay.
vest or wherever it may go. So,
Thank
all
you very
right.
much. I appreciate that.
Sure. Are you going for deer or elk?
Moose.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. All right. Well, good luck to you, and we'll get that order out.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Any other persons in the court or on Zoom?
There are two people present in court. The first one is there's a matter on at 1:30 for a motion to modify for Jordan Bryant. He's my client. The alleged victim is here, but he is not. He's not on for a pretrial or anything. It's just the motion to modify.
Did this not come on last time and he wasn't here? Somebody wasn't present?
I don't think so, because it looks like the date for this was just a few weeks ago. So
Okay.
yeah, the incident date was 9/2. So this would be hit the first.
Okay. Well, I'm going to set that motion on for his next appearance in court because it is a hearing that he'd be entitled to be present at. So I'm not sure how this got set on its lonesome, but we're going to reset this to his next court appearance. And frankly, I wouldn't, given the date of the charge, I usually wouldn't even consider a motion this early in the game. So.
Okay. I will relay that to the alleged victim. I'm sure she heard you, but just to answer any questions she might have about it.
All right. Thank you. Mr. Rhodes, do you have any pro se matters today?
Not that I'm aware of, Your Honor.
Okay. I do see a James Nations on the 135.
And Your Honor, I have had pretty extensive contact with Mr. Nations in the past. In fact, we've discussed a resolution. We have not had contact prior to this day's hearing. In light of all of that, I would ask to note the FTA and just reset 1 month.
Okay, we will note his failure to appear and we will reset the case on next month's docket.
You want to take Eric's case first?
All right, we have Mr. Kupka in the virtual courtroom and we have an iPhone that just connected. Mr. Kupka, if you can turn on your camera, and your client, Megan Goldsmith, I assume is appearing as the untitled iPhone. There we go. You'll need to unmute your phone as well.
Okay.
All right, there we go. And you are Megan Goldsmith?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Kupka and Mr. Rhodes, I was provided before today's hearing a statement of defendant on submittal or stipulation to facts in the jury trial waiver, speedy trial waiver. Is this the agreement of the parties?
It is, Your Honor. I've had an opportunity to review it extensively with Ms. Goldsmith. She understands all the terms and conditions and is prepared to enter into this agreement if the court would allow.
Okay. And Mrs. Goldsmith, is this something you want to proceed with?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I do appreciate that this came to me before court to give me an opportunity to review. I will advise the parties that in chambers I reviewed everything. And Ms. Goldsmith, you understand that if you violate the conditions of this agreement and if it is revoked, you would end up with a charge of assault 4th degree domestic violence on your record, right?
Yes, sir. I understand.
You understand that could carry a maximum penalty of 364 days in jail and a $5,000 fine, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And sorry about that.
At least it's not me, Judge.
Someone must not be looking at my calendar. So, so where was I? Part of this agreement will prohibit you from possessing or owning firearms or ammunition. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. However, after all those bad things, if you comply, this charge will end up being dismissed. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And it looks like the agreement is to continue the case 12 months, and you're going to maintain law-abiding behavior, which would normally be expected anyway. You're not going to engage in any behavior considered by law as domestic violence or assault. And you're going to, looks like you're going to get an alcohol evaluation from a state agency within 60 days, and then begin proof of any recommended treatment within 90 days. Is that your understanding?
Yes, sir.
And you're going to pay $150 in court costs to the court within 90 days. And then there will be last a $200 court monitoring fee that is to be paid within 90 days of the date of this order. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, I did sign this in advance and I sent it to the court clerk, so she should be able to distribute fully signed copies to all the parties.
Very well, Your Honor.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the court taking this matter early and adopting the recommendation of the parties. Your Honor, in the event that she complies with everything, which I fully expect, will she have to appear at the hearing at the end of the stipulated period?
No, she will not, unless there's an issue with compliance.
Thank you, Judge.
All right. Well, good luck, Ms. Goldsmith. And that concludes your case today. You're free to log off.
All right. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, Judge. Thank you, Mr. Rhodes.
Thank you, counsel.
I did have a document come through from my court clerk, defendant by the name of Timothy Ricketts.
Yes, and he's present in the courtroom today.
All right, well, we'll go ahead and call for Timothy Ricketts. All right, number 1 on the 10, on page 10 at 140. You are Timothy Ricketts?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Ricketts, let me pull this document up.
And while you're doing that, just for the record, it's SOC for a period of 12 months. The terms are no criminal law violations, pay $350 or begin making payments within 90, and perform 16 hours of community service, specifically at an animal shelter. Mr. Ricketts just charged with animal neglect under the Montesano code.
And what were what's the factual basis for the charge?
Your Honor, if I may, Mr. Ricketts was alleged to have left his dog in a car on a hot day. The windows were cracked.
I remember this one. Yep. I just wanted to make sure that doing any community service and animal shelter would be appropriate for this case. But no, I remember those facts pretty well. So, Mr. Ricketts, you are charged with animal neglect under our municipal code. And by entering into this agreement, you're going to give up all the rights you currently have in this court. You're going to give up your right to speedy trial, and you're going to abide by certain conditions outlined in this agreement. And if you meet all the conditions, the case will be dismissed with prejudice against you. And so the conditions you're going to meet, you agreed to continue the case 12 months. You're not going to have any new criminal violations of the law during the 12-month period. You agree to pay court costs in 90 days of $350 or begin making payments. You're also going to do 16 hours of community service and provide proof to the court within 180 days. And there's a note on here that community service is to be done at an animal shelter. So, of which we have plenty. So, Mr. Ricketts, you want me to sign off on this?
I understand it. Yeah, that's what I agreed to.
Okay. Well, since the parties are in agreement, they know the facts better than this court. I'm going to go ahead and direct my court clerk to sign this with my signature stamp and issue copies to all parties.
So
And that concludes your case today.
step right
All
over
right,
there and you can
thank you.
talk to her about making payments.
Okay.
There's no one else present in the courtroom, and I don't believe anyone in the waiting room is my client.
Well, let's just go through the docket.
Scott Campbell is in the waiting room.
Oh, yes.
I don't know if you want to bring him in and get out of here first.
Does he have a case, Mr. Rhodes, or is he pro temping today?
That I'm not sure, Your Honor. I believe he may be pro temping.
Miss Geller does say it does have a client, Jeffrey Thomas, that's on at 2:00.
What was the last name?
Thomas.
Here we go. Yep. It's hiding at the very back on page 13. Let's go ahead and bring Mr. Campbell in, Madam Clerk, and if Mr. Thomas, I think, shows up at Mr. Campbell's office. All right, Mr. Campbell, we brought you into the courtroom.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good afternoon.
And I think if I recall last time, Jeffrey Thomas appeared over Zoom at your office? Is he doing the same?
I think Mr. Thomas is going to appear via Zoom, but I have my other client, John Neals, who's present in my office. That I'll just bring in. He's out in the lobby. I'll just bring him in here when you're ready to call that.
Did I miss Niels? No, it's here. I found it. Well, if Mr. Niels is present and ready to proceed, we can go ahead and call his case.
Okay, I'm gonna grab him. Thanks. Hey, John. Get you down there, and there you are. Make sure you can see your face on there. Yes. So that way, all right, Your Honor, this is John Neals. We're ready to go.
Okay. So this comes on for a failure to comply with police, a flagger, or a firefighter.
Yeah, this was the day that that cable line was stretched.
Oh, sure.
3 or 4 blocks. And there was the issue is whether. Obviously, we see the case differently, the police and Mr. Neals, but it surrounds that event. And my clients received an offer, and frankly, Judge, we just need more time. I don't think he's ready to pull the trigger on it, I guess is the best way to put it. And I might want to just follow up with Mr. Rhodes a little bit.
And this is a criminal charge, right? This isn't an infraction.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. So I certainly don't want to set it. I don't even know what, this setting it for trial. It doesn't seem to be something we ought to even consider at this juncture.
Okay. Well, there's no objection from the city?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right. Well, I'm going to grant the request for a continuance. We'll set it over to next month. Stay in touch.
What date is that, Judge? Just I want to make sure I think I got a few towards the end of.
Let me see if I can get to my calendar quick here.
October 26th.
October 26th.
Just, if it's okay with Your Honor, I just make sure the 26th. I'm scheduled to be an arbitrator that day in a case for the Superior Court. So would there be any objection to the November date?
That would be November 23rd.
And that's open for me.
Yeah, that's fine to set it over to November 23rd.
Okay.
So we will issue notice of that court hearing. Stay in touch with your attorney, and that concludes your case today.
And Your Honor, my notes say that we had actually set this for trial October 20th. I don't know whether the court noted that, but that should be formally stricken.
Okay, and any trial setting, if that's occurred, will be stricken.
Very well.
All right. Well, that concludes this matter.
All right.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
I'll talk to you in the meantime. So
Okay.
Thanks.
Okay.
Then it looks like Mr. Thomas.
Here he is.
Come in here. And while he's waiting to come in, this is just is it a review of an infraction agreement?
I think also it's set for pretrial. I'm just going to, it's also a case that's not resolved that I'm not ready to set for trial. So I might just ask that we put this in the November cycle as well.
All right. Yeah, that was hiding on the page prior.
If it was just an infraction, then we.
Right. Mr. Thomas, are you there? I see you've logged in. Can you turn on your mic and there we go. All right, Mr. Thomas, city attorney's here, as well as myself and your attorney in our virtual courtroom. Case comes on for pre-trial, and while you were logging in, your attorney requested the case be set over to November. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Okay. Any objection from the city?
No objection, Your Honor.
All right. Well, with there being no objection, we'll go ahead and set this over to the end of November for pre-trial. And Mr. Campbell, we don't have any trial setting right now that we need to worry about, do we?
I don't think we do, Your Honor.
Okay.
I don't know what state is the court conducting trial. Have there been any trials conducted, or is?
We had one that was set and it was going to go through, and then it ended up going away.
Okay. But we don't have anything in this case, so.
No. Okay. Well, Mr. Thomas, stay in touch with your attorney, Scott Campbell, and we will see you back here in November.
Okay.
All right. Thank you. Okay. Are we ready to go through the pretrial docket?
I'm ready.
We have City versus Vasily Borisov.
Yes. Mr. Borisov contacted me just before court started. He lives in Tacoma, and his car broke down, so he wasn't able to make it. I was just asked that we note his FTA. He's appeared at all other proceedings, and he's had pretty good contact with me.
I will note that he has appeared in the past, so his case will be reset with his absence noted today. Then it looks like we have a diversion compliance for a Dale Montgomery. Madam Clerk, do we have an issue with compliance today?
The clerk is just indicating that she called and she's in detox. But I myself have not had any contact with her, so.
All right, well, since she has made contact with the court, we'll go ahead and set this over to October and issue notice. Then we have pretrial with Samantha Shapansky.
So I am not sure where Ms. Shapansky is. I actually just saw her about a week ago over in McCleary Municipal Court handling a similar case to this. At that time, she's working on getting her license back, but I haven't had any contact with her regarding this case in the last week or so, and I don't know where she's at. I mean, I guess I would just ask to note the FTA, set it over, as she is working on adjudicating her FTAs and getting her license back.
She's also working on, since the date of this citation, she's ended up with 1, 2, 3, 4 new driving, there are 3 that are driving suspended second, and 1 that's a driving suspended third. Yeah, based on this record and her continued driving, the court's going to issue a warrant in the amount of $1,000. And then Mr. Rhodes, let's go back to James Nations. So you've had no contact with him?
Not in the last 30 days. I've had extensive contact, and we in fact have a resolution we'd agreed to. I probably dropped the ball in terms of not following up with him to get him paperwork to sign. No objection to noting his FTA, renoting, and I'll make contact with him, and we hope to present a resolution to the court next time.
Okay. Well, his absence will be noted for the record, and we'll set that case in October. Then I have a Shirley Howard. It's a review hearing for compliance with an SOC. Let me get her record up. So in 2018, she entered into an SOC. She racked up a bunch of driving suspended charges that were later amended to no valid operator's license with ID. And she has a pending negligent driving second and a no insurance violation, along with some other infractions as of August 28th and 30th of 2021. Oh,
Madam Clerk also indicated that she's behind on payments on this SOC, I believe.
yeah, I see I'm in jabs in the notes. And at the beginning of January 2020, we issued a warrant. Then she made a request to have her fine removed from collections. Mr. Rhodes, have you filed a revocation in this matter?
All right, I'm looking here.
I don't see one noted in the docket here. It was a 24-month continuance.
I'm not sure that we have, Your Honor, based on what I'm hearing, we should and we will. Ask that we set the compliance hearing over 1 month. We'll file our petition. And with that, I assume the court would request that we submit a copy of the police report for review if the court is inclined to grant the motion.
I'll have a copy in my file already. And I plan to be at the court office next month. I just ran into some potholes today. That's why I'm appearing today from my office. So yeah, the court will reset this matter over 1 month. Then I have a review hearing for Lucretia Johnson.
Lucretia. And Madam Clerk's indicating that it is an issue of payments.
All right. Well, let's reissue notice, and perhaps the city attorney may want to take a look at that too.
And Lebowski too. Those payments.
And then we have a review hearing, looks like 2 matters for Chico Vitagowski.
And those are also apparently payment issues as well.
All right, and it looks like we have an active warrant for him in our court too, on some charges that came up after these. We'll just let the warrant on the other cases remain outstanding. Set this on for next month and see if we can pull them in.
And then on the pretrial calendar, it appears that you had skipped one. It's Mavis Stinnett. It's number 10 on page 7.
I did. So we have Mavis Stinnett.
This one where I'm surprised she's not here. She has been showing up. I had talked to her last week. I'd set up a time to speak with her yesterday in my office, but she didn't appear at that one either. I will just say she's like 85 years old and requires the help of individuals to get around. So I would just maybe ask to.
Yeah, I remember this defendant, and I'll reset it, note her absence for the record, and it'll come on our docket in October.
Thank you.
And then I have a Jeffrey Mihelich. 2 matters that come on for pretrial.
Okay.
Have you had any contact with this person, Mr. Duncanson?
So it appears that he's pro se and was going to hire his own attorney. I was not appointed to him.
Oh, okay. Well, don't see him here, and he lives locally, so he indicated last month at arraignment he would hire his own attorney, and he's not present today, so the court's going to issue bench warrants of $2,000 in each case. And then we get to page 14 and we have a Cordell Dugan. And we have an issue with community service hours.
I will note, I haven't had any contact with Mr. Dugan for some time, but I will note that I just happened to be across the street in Superior Court about a year ago when he was sentenced to a year of jail, but I believe he should have finished that by now.
Criminal trespass against children and communicate with minor for immoral purposes. Well, he's not here today, so I'm going to issue a bench warrant in the amount of $1,500. And then we have Samuel Goodman. I remember this case. Madam Clerk, have we had any contact? I know he was supposed to obtain either an evaluation or attend a victim impact panel. If there was a response, I was not able to hear it.
No
No
compliance.
compliance.
Boy, he got a DUI too this year. Seems like he could take some of those sentencing requirements and apply them to this case. I'm going to issue a warrant in the amount of $1,500. Looks like they're having trouble with him completing an evaluation and doing things in district court too. So like I said, a bench warrant was issued. Then we have a 1-year review for a Furman Bautista Sanchez. Madam Clerk, are we in compliance? Good. Then I have a Ronald McGraw. Looks like it's a compliance review as well. Is he in compliance?
Yes.
And lastly, another review for a Loza Tolly. I didn't quite hear that.
I'm not sure on tally.
Okay, well, let's take a look, and if we need to, we can reset it.
Okay.
And then it looks like I just have a couple hearings by mail and then a couple clerk's reviews. So no one's wandered into the court late, have they?
No.
Well, gentlemen, thank you. And that's going to conclude court for the day.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Oh, yes, Madam Clerk?
We have 4 arraignments that didn't show. Do you want to reset them?
I'm pretty sure Holly Bryant won't show up. I think she has a pending theft warrant in our court already. We can go ahead and reset them.
Okay.
Okay. All right, well, I think that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.